Okay. So that's an interesting tale. So my name is Brenda Jean Power, and this is MWSoultion Show, and it needs to be done on the MWSoultion page, not my personal page. So sorry I'm late. Sat there and tried to figure out why I couldn't find it. So sometimes, do you ever feel like you're broadcasting to the wrong audience? Is your message getting out to the wrong people? Or is it when you are messaging that you were supposed to trigger somebody to say, oh, I meant to do that today, you know, or I never thought of that. So is it a mistake, or what was going behind? A lot of times we get extremely influenced by different things that happen into our environment. So what are we going to talk about? I mean, spirit easily can talk about what just happened. Okay. So I have no idea. Hi. Okay. Am I finally on the right page? Hello, hello, hello. Okay. You're going to learn all about who you are and what you are if you allow yourself. For instance, you'll see on the board that there's different things, a new option. And like, I know like April Lynn constantly has to get up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning to go to work. And so she dedicates healing herself, and she, you know, and I'm one of her teachers, and I'm very thankful that she is in my life. And so what happens is that, yeah, so what happens is I gave an offer. So if she wanted to, let's say she wanted to send money through PayPal, $24 through paypal.me/reading11. There's no S at the end of reading. Or she can send 2,000 coins and save $4. But it'd be in the chat because she can never come live unless she has a day off or something. Thank you so much for helping me see this. So let's see here. Here we go. Thank you so much. Yes, I'm in the right room. I've got it. Yay! If you're new to me, then yes, we can give you I'll give you a free reading. You don't have to pay for it, but if you want more than 1 minute, then you go right ahead, and we can add to it as long as I know you're new. If somebody brought you, like I know April Lynn has, you know, or Thor has, both of them have done tremendous of bringing people in. So if you happen to be bringing people in that really want to hear this, then that's great. Well, what do we want to talk about today is, what is your question? A lot of people have a lot of questions, and what I have learned through listening to spirit, through hypnosis, through all of these things, you'd be amazed at what you do hear and what you do find out. Now I'm trying to figure out how to turn this around here. There we go. Okay. And there's a lot you guys can do. So if you're in TikTok, you just double the price because of the way that the price is so much more expensive. Hi, Joy, how are you? So the moderator will let you know that if you see 300 per minute, it's actually for stars, it's 600 per minute for coins. So just double that. April Lynn says, I noticed that I saw lots of speeding cars zooming past me today. Testing my response. Oh, come on, open up. Yes. Okay. So when it feels like a testing, how did I handle that it went onto the wrong page? What's the thoughts that you have in your head? For me, is it because I'm sitting there and going, oh my God, I'm such an idiot, I got on the wrong page? You know, do you need to believe every stupid thought you think? No. Do you have to be influenced by stupid thoughts? No. Language forms your brain. And testing is that it isn't, oh, it's testing my nerves today through ego mindset, but through spiritual mindset. Has she passed her test? Which way is it? So in this case, when I'm looking at April Lynn, there's a part of her that's noticing. Your key to awakening and any awareness is, or anything, is awareness. And what mindset are you in? If you're in a negative state, can you be in your spiritual mindset at the same time? What do you think? What do you think? Let me know. Because I'll tell you, I have done this quite a bit now, and I've been teaching others. And every time I teach, I advance myself and I change my reality. I was on your other page and didn't even notice. Well, see, see, and the thing is I realized that something wasn't right when I couldn't find myself. When I projected out my broadcast of my show, we broadcast out messages. Are we truly aligned to what we desire? Are we truly aligned with what our intention is? Or is there an incongruency that could cause you to self-sabotage, cause you to take notice of what's going on? When I'm in my spiritual mindset, okay, so I don't really see anybody responding, so I'll answer. When I'm angry, you can train yourself to become your authentic self while you're living a live experience, a hellish experience. Hellish experience is anything less than love. If you're throwing a fit, if you're angry, if you're upset. And what happens is that you will notice as you begin to use your awareness, oh my God, I'm angry. How do you know that? Now, in your spiritual mindset, you train the brain, because the brain has to be very healthy to some degree to help you survive or stay alive. So Dr. Amen will talk to you about how, he didn't smoke, he didn't drink, he didn't play tackle football, he didn't do any of that. But when he scanned his brain, it looked unhealthy. So he started to change the way he thought, change the way he ate, change the way he exercised. And his brain, 10 years later, he's showing the 10 years difference, and his brain is healthier. It is actually making him look younger. And what shrinks your brain, what changes your brain, what makes issues? Well, it's not just tackle football or banging your head into things on a soccer ball or any of these things. It can be just the way you think. It can be as simple as being obese, overweight. But energy also can put into play, because I also know that when you move the energy, regardless of these things, you're helping your body to repair itself. Okay. When your brain is, if you drink a lot, you are not going to make a healthy environment for it. When you do drugs and alcohol and all those other things, you're like, yeah, see, take all the good shit away. But that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to tell you about the brain. Now, April Lynn has, like, for instance, I love getting that she's alive. It's like, yay, there she is. But she deliberately, intentionally does her best to make sure that she creates an environment that supports where her end goal is for joy, happiness, harmony, health. So she will do gratitudes. And gratitudes will start to, here's the beauty of this. Even if we start to get your brain healthy, you still have to think about your telomeres. And your telomeres are like this, they're the end caps, like on a shoelace. And if they fall off, then the shoelace unravels. Okay. And the end caps are there to protect. So every time you have stress, any kind of stress, I don't care what kind of stress, what happens is you can start breaking away, and you start to age. You can do it with thinking. There was a quote once, somebody said that, the moment you're born, you start dying. And what they meant was you begin to age. Sounds logical enough, but it actually creates a nocebo effect. What is a nocebo effect? Anybody know? Because when you think of a placebo, you think of drugs. Well, they give you a sugar pill, but your body says, you know what? Your belief tells me that you believe in that, and you don't know it's a sugar pill, and you have the faith that can move a mountain. So it's about your beliefs. And all I can tell you is a nocebo effect, even though it may be an innocent word, even though it's innocent word, I don't know what no good is. Yes, it's definitely negative. So nocebo is that when you try to talk yourself sour graping to make yourself feel better, it still creates a negative effect in the body. If you are allowing yourself to think negative all the time, you are not helping your body. You're not helping your telomeres. You're aging. Bad effects. Gotcha. So what happens is that you have an opportunity to be the creator of your life. So even if shit's going on around April's life, I'm in charge. I have a choice. Now, negative people are going to say, oh, yeah, well, they'll come up with every answer. But you know that when you start working with your spirit, so she's worked with me enough, that when she's having a shitty ass day, she can sit in her live experience, go, oh my God. But spiritually, she's going, I'm taking notes. I am not going to repeat this shit. I am not wasting this. I created this moment so I can see and feel all of this stuff, and that is okay. At the same time, I can feel I'm losing power, and it's unacceptable. I'm healing that. So show me what I need to know. So you can turn your life around. You can turn your life around, but you need to have more than just one little thing that can, people think one time's enough. This one person I know, they, how do I want to put this? One person thought, okay, yeah, my faith in the doctors, my faith in this, I have no problems with it. I have faith with doctors too. Thank God for those operations and things I needed. I have faith in that. And at the time, those worked, but I have faith in myself. I have faith in that hope, that ray of hope. I have faith. And what does it mean? It means that you have an opportunity to change something. You have that little moment that everybody's telling you bullshit. And you says, no, I'm going to look for that little light. I'm going to look and I'm going to find it. And that's because you're looking for it. But when you're thinking negative, do you get to look for it? And I finally started understanding more about why April keeps showing up to me is April Lynn shows up to me as a sunflower and a sunshine. And she's not a yellow sunflower. She's a white one. And she's always doing her best to be greater than her environment. And she's going to learn to become greater than her environment. And that tenacity, that directness, that way she wants to be, that's going to make her grow. That's going to make her succeed. And if she looks back, she can see where she's grown and says, I'm definitely not that a year ago. I definitely wasn't that type of person. I was definitely not that. I know this. And she won't look and say, oh, thank God I don't have any more pain. She'll look and say, oh, that's what it feels like. Then sometimes there's no words. It's like, So what happens, okay, I'll have to pin that later. So what happens is that hold on, I've got like 1,000 things going on in my head, and I keep hearing these interface issues, and I don't know what's going on here. You can decide. I will rise. Yes, you will, and you'll face the sun. You'll face the sun. So she's being tested by all these cars zooming by. And so she knows what it feels like to be less than love. And she'll feel this, and see this. She knows that something's getting on her nerves. Now, that's a program. Does she need to follow it? Which a lot of people don't realize that. They just do it. Scream, holler, shout, all of these things. And they think that's life. They think that's the only way they can express the chemical peptide of emotion. That's because that's pissed you off. It pissed you off. But do you really need to respond to the program? And I've learned that when I start communicating with me, my insides, my truth with my heart, or with just listening, I was testing one time and I had dropped a fork and I went, oh my God. And all I could hear was my spirit saying, hey, you're here, you're in your ego mindset, but you're also your spiritual mindset. I'm like, I questioned, did I really need to say that? Did I really need to? And I looked, I'm feeling, was there any aches and pains? There was, no. Where did I learn that? Where did I learn that? And it's not that we're blaming, we're looking and noticing that we're a program. And I was losing power to a fork or a spoon, whatever it was that fell on the floor. And that's that easy. The moment you are less than love, you give your power away. And if you realize that you gave your power away, you're like, but why did I do that? Do I need to? Is that necessary? Is that healthy? Is that helpful? Sometimes we have to burst with expression. We need to scream and we need to holler. But is it really true that we need to do that? No. You be mindful. You start to go, did I need to do that? So if you're questioning. Okay. So you can think negative, and it creates the nocebo effect that affects your health. Your brain becomes less beautiful in shape. The telomeres, they start breaking off because of stress. And that shortens your lifespan. How can you stretch your lifespan? Catch when you're being negative. Catch when you start believing in nocebo effects. One of the biggest lessons I've learned was that I thought everybody was smarter than me. And so I would listen to people and I would admire how they talked, or I admire this and that. I didn't realize that who I was admiring were narcissists, people that took energy, people that were alpha, people that said, I have to have competition. I see that you're doing good. I'm going to top you and I'm going to make you feel like shit so I can win. And I didn't know this. And when I started to pay attention even further, that I was attracting them in on a soul contract level, on a mirror base of reality. Do I want that? Do I need that? Can I learn my lesson, and can that change that? Yes. I want to extend my telomeres. If you haven't noticed, there was a video I think I did last week that just talked about the healing the heart. If you go onto my webpage, do I have it up yet? If not, I'll get it up today. There's free healing tools so that you can do hand of a heart for truth testing. And I think healing the heart is what the other one's called. And that is to help do 3 minutes to start to activate the gratitude that helps support the brain, that helps support the telomeres, that helps support the autonomic nervous system. And when you start to tap into that autonomic nervous system and you start to tap into the heart-brain coherence, you can start having miracles. How do I know this? Well, let's see. I studied Dispenza, Braden, Lipton, Dr. Amen, tons and tons of other people that have in this field of studies. And when you start to look at things, yes, a test to hear your response. How are you going to respond? I was driving down the road one time, and when I was in Michigan, and to get from Ovid to my house is like 1 mile. And there's this big ass curve that goes around like this. And this truck came up on my butt and was like, those really old clunkers. And I'm like, it got my attention. Now, I noticed that I wasn't upset. I was just like, interesting. I didn't give my power away. And you understand what it means by giving your power away, responding, getting pissed, and all of a sudden, he's going to pass. And then as we started going the corner and he's going to pass, and then a car came and he honked his horn like it's my fault. Interesting. And then he finally did it. And then he went really fast. He passed, he got front, slammed on his brakes several times to take out his rage on me. Now, I thought, where have I seen this moment? These snapshots of their rage, the snapshot that they had to take it out of me, the snapshots is like this one moment of, these are little individual things where your brain takes pictures and just goes and gets stuck there. And when you're healing out all the stuff, but you have to stop and take care of the snapshot sometimes. When I was growing up, part of the paradigm of how parents teach their children how to behave was there. Yay, somebody sent me something. That was beautiful. Thank you. So what do we heal? What do we heal? You have to understand, first of all, you can say, I'm ready to heal. You can say, I'm ready. You can say it. What can you heal? What can you heal? And people don't think about asking. The reason you're here is because probably your soul's urge and you're like, I'm desperate. Tell me why you're here, any of you. Glad to see that you caught me alive. Thank you. Tell me why you're here. Why would you want to come in? Why would you want to listen to me? Now, why would you even go to a psychic? I don't really claim myself as a psychic. I'm a metaphysician that can read energy. Heartbreak. Thank you. Oh my God, I got a fish. Sorry. Heartbreak. So there's something that you want and you want it to be settled. You're looking to cope, handle, deal. So maybe you want to look the other way. Don't know what to do. Somebody says, I have a fear of working because of fear of failure. Very good insight. And the thing is that you can start to begin to talk to your body. You can begin to talk to your body. But first, we need to get your emotional intelligence or your emotional responses, the emotional chemical peptides, to stop telling you lies. Anxiety, yes, not compatible. But if we keep hearing it, now I'm going to ask Spirit, she come like, okay, let me see, Natalie, I'm going to pick Natalie. Natalie said this thing. She says, because of heartbreak, she has anxiety that I'm not compatible. And if you really look at having a fear of working because of fear of failure, is that, again, it's not compatible. To learn how to not store emotion in my body. Yes. And there's just certain things are not compatible. Okay. That's exactly what this is about. It's about incongruent. You're less than love. A certain amount of your life force has been devoted to your experiences in life. Tired of feeling like I'm crazy. Yes. Incompatible with yourself, incompatible with your environment. I know that one, Joy, quite well. And the thing is that I started to say, you know what? I'm tired of being insane. I feel like it's just insanity. I mean, I love everything I'm doing, but I just, my nerves just can't handle this anymore. And these are the unseen energies. So because sometimes the emotions override my life, regardless of the tools. Yes. And that's because of your brain. Okay. We start out with brain health. If your brain is unhealthy. And so we need to get into a groove of helping to get our body more into life. There is more to life than these hell loop programs. Yes, that's the first belief. There's something greater than me that can take care of me, that loves me. Your innate intelligence. But we get caught up in what? In the incompatibility, the differences, the thing that we didn't know how to cope, handle, deal, pacify, sanity, serenity, stability, space. We believe, and it's the power of the belief and the perception that we come in with that belief that creates a reality that you have to keep repeating. Why? How did you learn to walk? You saw, you watched, you observed, you did, you copied. We pick up some nasty things along the way, and we do those for survival. We do those because we watched, we do those. But do we need to do those? No. So you're learning to become greater than your environment. Number one, you need to make sure that you have water in your system. It isn't just to keep you hydrated. The main reason is that your brain is 95% water. It has more water up there than it has in the body. But you know what happens to water? If you haven't, you need to go start looking at what happens to the effects of water. How you talk, how you think, shapes your brain connections, fires and wires, and it can shape the size of your brain, the way it's functioning, because your brain is programmed by you to tell the body how to behave. but it goes in here, your heart. If you feel incongruent, now, but it's those energies. How do you respond to those energies? How do you respond to those energies? And that is where you can see your programs. People say, well, I can't remember what happened at 4 or 3. You don't have to know as much as, how am I responding today? You believe you're incompatible. You believe that the failure is going to hurt. You believe that you can be hurt. You can believe that you can die. I was so scared to stand up to my ex because my childhood part of me, my little self kept saying, I'm going to die if I stand up for myself. And I was like, what? And I was so petrified. My body started to run the other way. Well, I had to stand here and face this big ass person in front of me. I need all of me if I'm going to be able to create the world I want. I need all of me to be compatible so that my inner world will show me that I'm more compatible out here. Where are you incompatible? That shows the mirror of life. Where you are incompatible, you have to believe it. And it is those OMG moments that shocks you to your core. The simplest one, I mean, that's like somebody you deeply love turns around and tells you, I never believed in you, or I don't believe in what you do, or I don't love you, but do as I say. What? Your whole world was based on the fact that you loved each other. That can happen from a child to a parent or a husband and wife. And you're, what? And it's amazing how much we want them to believe in us because you thought you were on this journey together. When I had that experience, I created a snapshot in my eyes, in my ears, in my body. It had created a snapshot. It created stress. It created my body to break down. And within 3 days later, I had asthma. And 3 days later, I had heartburn. Well, not the same kind of heartburn as everybody else has. And 3 days later, my body started to break down tremendously fast. I was incongruent with myself. I was so froze. I didn't know how I was supposed to respond. I was in a shocked state. I could feel that I was constantly cold. And I'm like, I didn't know how to recover from this. Now, another event. I couldn't take it anymore. My nerves, just like Joyce says, you just feel like you're going crazy and you get tired of it. You're like, I got to wake up and do this, but I have a great family, or I've got this. I thought everything was great. I thought my husband was great. I thought my kids are great. I have a great home. Come to find out that the energy from my ex was all about manipulation, all about driving me insane so he could be right. And when I had to stand up to him, all I could think about was Happy Days. Remember Happy Days, the show set in the 50s? And Miriam Cunningham goes and she's mad at her husband, and he says, well, where's my dinner? She goes to the freezer, she grabs this, and then she goes, here's your dinner, cook it yourself, and she leaves. And I remember I had to stand up to him one day in my 30s, so I was quite still young. And I had to stand up, and I remember shaking so bad. I mean, every part of me is shaking, but I couldn't do it anymore. I was going to go crazy. And I stood up, and I had to find that motivation in me. It's like when I go lift weights, and it's like, oh, I don't feel like it today, but you have to give yourself that pep talk. And as soon as you start getting that pep talk, yeah, I can do it. I created a foundation, and I can go out and I can pump out as much weight as I want for any length of time. And wow, I can do it. But when I had to face the spit, the sound, the heaviness, the anger, the eyes, the realism of this monster that I called love, knowing that I'm always going to be doing the same game, And he's trained me at this point to expect me to show up the way he wants. And I stood up and I just had to give myself a pep talk. I said, I'm done. It ain't gonna happen anymore. I'm done. And he's like, yeah, whatever. You hear nothing but silence. Now I'm shaken like you wouldn't believe. I kept taking myself pep talk. You've got this. You've got this. You've got this. Is pre-tools. I didn't have a lot of tools at that point. So I'm, can't think of any tools except for I would have Reiki. EFT was there, but I didn't use it enough, so I couldn't remember it. And I remember sitting there with the experience, and that was the main thing I was supposed to have, was the experience. And I sat there as I said it, and I realized my body, all my little nerves are listening to see how he's going to respond, because my body feels like I'm going to be doing the same experience I had as a kid. And it didn't. And all I could hear inside of me was, you didn't die. When you're threatened as a kid to behave and you don't, and they threaten to kill you. I have had several little experiences along the way, like when the molestation, I'm going to kill you if you say anything. I'll kill your family. With the threat of being killed, to hunt you down, because they are pissed in that moment and they want to figure out the best way to hurt you. I heard in my head, you didn't die. And I'm like, wait, what? I didn't die. I didn't. I had a program inside of me that said if I stood up. Now, see, if I would have had this in me when I was younger, that I could stand up like the rest of my family without getting my ass whooped or any of this stuff. If I stood up, I believed that I could do it. I was compatible to do it. I couldn't get over that. It's what's called an arrested development. You really get stuck. And I would have probably stopped getting molested. I saw several points where I could have ran or changed the whole environment, and I didn't. And I could never understood why, because I was later come to find out that's more of a PTSD, where you just kind of, and when you finally start to heal that stuff out, you'll get to certain points. Keep going, because I will tell you, you are going to get stronger and healthier. You're going to be able to measure your difference than what you've done before. But you have to change how you respond. You have to change how to move the energy so your brain becomes healthier, eat healthier, however you want to do it. You have to decide. You have to decide, okay? Nikki says, I'm here because I love what you do for others, for an honor to watch and learn from you. Wonderful. That means someday you're going to achieve that. I'm part of your catalog of life. That's wonderful. I want to step in my true authentic as you have. You are seeing it. You are going to achieve it because you are determined. And because you're determined, you're going to keep doing this in such a way that you will have climbed that mountain and reached the top. And one day you look back, dang, I did it. Oh, hold on, I did it. Oh God, I did it. I remember starting out going, oh my God, I can't tell people I'm doing this and this and this and this. I got nothing behind my experience. I can honestly say from that moment when I said that is in my 30s, that was 20 some odd years ago. I've got that much more time under my belt, intentionally studying, intentionally teaching, intentionally being a helper healer. You will accumulate that time, but I never measured my time. I just was like, oh God, I don't have enough time. People aren't going to like me. Blah, 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 blah. And when I started to pay attention to that track, do I have to believe everything stupid I say? It's a feeling. You can heal that feeling. You can change it. The idea of getting out of your health, you got to first include yourself in it. If you can't value yourself, which this is why when I'm in this state, I can't do math. And then when I started to look at it, I didn't value myself. I was undercutting my own self. Like, that's, if you really wanted the expertise of going through and what should I be asking for, what kind of education, all of this expertise, all of that, time behind my belt, experiences, you wouldn't be able to afford me. And that's not being cocky or pompous. It's about looking at all the stuff that I've achieved, looking at all the stuff I've paid for, looking at how the experience I have devoted, I have grown, I have become what I want to heal. I am this. I am love the best I can. Yeah, I had turned to religion in my day. I am a reverend in the United States. It doesn't qualify here in Australia. But I'm a reverend, but I don't use it. I am a Reiki master probably 20 times over from different types of modalities. I got burned out placing my hands on people after 7 years of devoted service. That's what religion does to you too. But I got Reiki on top of that. And I didn't do religion the same as others. People was like, well, no, you have to. I'm like, no, you don't. You don't have to do Jesus jamming. You don't have to sit there and jam Jesus down your throat, do judgment, compare, and send them to hell and show them that they're sin. That's That's BS. I did it completely different. And after a while, I only reason I had joined a certain church was because was getting married. And I thought that I understood and I was with them until they started to compare me and says, we're ice cream. They're sherbet. And I says, division? Really? Oh, well, they're gay. You don't really want. Wait, what? Division? Where's the love? I'm all for LG. I can't even say it. I haven't said it in so long. I'm all for anybody to be who they are. It saddens my heart to watch people hide who they are, and they can't be them. I just want to pick them up and say, God loves you. Pick them up and say, Spirit is in you is greater than their judgment and their sins and their fears. So what am I really here for? I want you to find you. Every time you go and you start looking and having epiphany pops and you start looking back, you start going, oh my God, thank you for teaching that. Thank you for being that example. I am an example for myself every day. So if I fall, I can get back up and know I can. I love myself, and I am so thankful that I love myself. Otherwise, I would go in hell and back. So this incompatibility, the first thing you need to do is, what mindset are you in? Did you know that you have an ego mindset and a spiritual mindset? We don't have to believe all of the bullshit, all the stupid things we think, all of the things that we think are true. Which mindset is believing it? If you're believing in lack, you're an ego. Thank you, Nikki. If you are sitting there believing in that you have to be in fear to survive, that can be a great motivation. That's also the old paradigm. And that's also about, I don't want to be humiliated. I got to be better than them. I've got to do it right. And usually a lot of, they always say it has to do with the firstborn, or it's a perfectionism thing. And you're just going to wear yourself down. The habit of how you do things is that you have to look at it and say, do I need to do all those things? The first thing I got rid of, I remember when I was younger, was time watching. I was losing more sleep by watching the clock going, oh my God, my kid's going to wake me up at 3 a.m. And here it is 2, and I haven't gotten to sleep yet. And I've been laying for 2 hours. And then that would drive myself to be more stressed, more sick, and everything else. So I got rid of the time watching. I stopped counting. I started noticing where my behavior was. I was losing it. Thinking if I just get this, I'll be okay. That's not the kind of pep talk I'm talking about. The only stars I'm doing at this is I'm finding my value and my worth. That's every minute you want is 300, except for if you want your 8 minutes. I don't want to go beyond it. It's 2,000 stars and 4,000 coins for, or 4,000 for TikTok. And you save $4, but you can't come live. It's in the chat room. The beauty of coming live is $24, but you get feedback. You get me hands-on. You don't have to use video, just audio. You get more out of it. But at the same time, I know that my 1 minute can blow people out of the water. I finally am realizing that a 1 minute, you get more out of than you ever imagined. So 200 stars, I don't see that on there. What does that go to? Think about what I just said. We're not doing the old rules. We're doing the new rules. So tell me what you want that for. Because I'm learning to ask my value. Again, I want to help you all. I have watched so many things of how people get on and they just throw their money away on things, and TikTok really can surprise you, because there, at least with Facebook, you get more money back, which I have to say, I finally can say yes to that. They've changed a couple things. Okay, so you want me to do right in the room? All right. Nikki's my first. This is 2008 minutes in chat. Oh, no problem. I just need to know we are communicating and we can become compatible. And what I will tell you. Oh, 900. Gotcha. 3 minutes. That's see, this is why we talk. Communication. And notice that the thing is that I misread. I missed it. So she wants 3 minutes. She thinks she's worth it. Now watch what you're going to get. Is there anything particular you want to talk about? I'm all for that too. For 3 minutes, Nikki, what do you want, honey? Because we can do just anything. You know, I always said cold reads. I mean, I didn't need any information, but I was watching somebody's definitions, cold read, and it was a bad connotation. I'm like, I don't do that. So I don't need any information. Your soul, your energy tells me all that you want to work on. Your soul already knows. You know me, Brenda, what Spirit says. Okay. So this is what, okay, immediately it was, did something just happen in your life that you feel like, because I can feel my visceral in my stomach had taken and gone nuts. Okay, the visceral in my stomach had gone nuts. And so it says you just went through something. I'm looking at how there's a certain amount of that you were being creative. And you were like, I thought I'm doing it right. Do you say, I thought I did that right? You know, because I feel like there's a judgment based on somebody's response. Or was it your body's response? And what I heard is that we're looking at that part of your brain. Yes. Oh, so we're looking at a live experience. Okay, so is that where we want to go? Yes. All righty. Now we're going to look at the physical self. We're going to look at the attraction factor. So the energy coming in, Spirit says why you brought it in that way is because it's like I have to give attention. I have to pay attention. Okay. So did you feel like somebody wanted attention all the time? So you had to pay attention. And then they said then because of their maneuvers, behaviors, strategies, I intervened. Then that would explain, because it's like Oh, hold on. My stomach is telling me like 3 things. What's in the stomach area? It's about helplessness, territorial control, and confusion. Okay, so is that just her own? Okay, so the body is saying, I'm changing the way I did things. I don't want to do them that way anymore. So what was the program that started to bring it all in? Helplessness. And that is the certain way that it always has to be. So I have to always behave. So it's an old pet program, being hero. And notice that it's not that you had to do this. Okay, not that you had to do this. Is it like you think when she programmed you to be her hero? She needed you to become the mother that she wanted and needed, or somebody to save her because she was needy. And so her program is she programmed you to do that. Does that sound about right? Because she wanted you. She wanted you to do this. And the reason she wanted you to do this is because she wanted you to give her rewards. I was a good girl. So your mom gets stuck in a certain age, like around 5 years old. So you were taught that you have to save, that you have to do this. So what would be the first thing you want her to heal? And they said they wanted me to help you understand that, and it always comes out of nowhere, that affects your reality. It just comes out and it just affects your reality. She wouldn't leave me alone till I helped today. That's it. Because a needy person's energy will create a vortex, let alone their own face and their own words and their own things. They said they want you to start to detach from that because she's looking for punishment. Okay, there's something about a punishment. There's something about a punishment. That is part of your next adventure. So L2S it, because there's this praise. There's this praise that she told you that if you do help me, does she say thank you? Does she give you praise after you help? Because the language here is what's important. Mod on TikTok, you need to, stars is the same thing as if you look in the gifting, you have to double that. So it'd be 600 per minute. So 600, whatever 600 could be any equivalency when you look at the coins, whatever 600 coins is, or approximately close to, then you can send it. Okay. Today she did. Okay. So notice this. You are meant to now look and take care of this pattern and watch this pattern closely, because this is where you're getting drawn and sucked into a particular field. Okay. I love you words and abuse follow. Yes. Yes. Good, good. Now she's got snapshots. So this is what I want you to get, is that she gets you to in a certain stage because lack of power. You lack the power. This is where you feel incompatible. Y'all listening? Okay. It's about feeling like power. So when a child, you put them in a chair and you say, okay, calm down. This is your quiet corner. I just want you to chill out. And then, what are you doing? You're looking for them to calm their brain. So if you could teach them to do this, that'd be great. But what they doing? The old paradigm is that if that child wants a particular outcome, this is a particular outcome syndrome. This is what it looks like. And they are going to do whatever it takes to learn how to get that. So if you're saying no, well, what can I do so you say yes? And their behavior is they have so much tolerance. They can go for hours, days, weeks until they get it. You're like, oh my God, they wore me down. You're like, oh my God, I can't do it. So what I had to do and learn was to unlearn certain things. And so one, you do not engage them in the eyes. You have clear boundaries. You say, if your behavior is less than acceptable, then you will be put here to calm down. And then we will talk. And you do like 1 minute, whatever age they are. But if you look at them, you talk to them, you look at them, you get down to that level, you talk to them, and you have clear instructions. And when they do act up, you don't say anything. You have a designated spot. You pick them up, you take them over, you put them in the timeout. They run away. You don't say nothing. You don't look at them. You pick them up, you put them back in the spot. and you just stay in the room, or you can have your back towards them. You're not taking away and punishing them. I'm going to take away my love and punish you. No, 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 no. You are there to support, but you're not going to give in. And this is where they're finally are going, you're training them as they're training you, and you're saying nothing. If you look at them and you hear they're crying and your heart breaks, they see she doesn't. We'll say it while healing. I'm putting my mom above. Yes, okay. And with any child, anybody that's learned how to, like, if you've learned how to manipulate your family, that's a skill and a half that you end up using on everybody. I don't care how old you get. And if you've been slapped into submission where you have to be passive, you will let everybody walk all over you without you realizing it, because of those very, very specific things that happen as a child. When I stopped looking at my kids and talking to them, they know as soon as they get that eye contact, you know, that moment they gotcha. And if you were to talk, because you have this urge that you feel you have to, because you got heartstrings or this and that. No, you have to heal that. No, you have to heal your heartache. You have to heal these things. And after the time is done, then you can talk to them face to face. And if they're calmed down, then you talk to them. Oh, thank you. Now, what happens is that I was probably about in July, a few months back, or a month or so back, I was in Adelaide, and me and my husband were we went out, we walked, and then sometimes we'll stop and we'll get something to eat. And I had ice cream, I think, at this point, small little cone. And I'm sitting there, and we just finished eating. I had this little cone, I'm sitting there, and I felt this energy from this person behind, and they were screaming at their friend. And then I could feel like their eyeballs on me. And I thought, no, don't look, don't look, don't look. And I didn't. And I could feel my whole body shaking like they're going to come and talk to me. And I don't want this. So I got up and I put my stuff away. And as I started to walk away, hey, you, and just screaming. And Spirit says, don't look, don't look, don't look, don't look. Now I looked just enough so I could see with my peripheral, and I threw the trash away, and she was looking right at me, screaming. Because seconds before all of that came down, as she was coming down the corridor, I had sat down and I turned around and I'm eating my last few bites. She looked at me, we made eye contact. And if you know what that feels like, it's a brief second, but you both saw each other. And with that connection, she was lambasting who she was with. And then she goes, and because we had that connection, she was going to turn to me. I didn't engage. Every freaking cell in my body was screaming two things. Turn around, say something. No. Run like hell. No. I'm not going to feed it. I'm not going to give my power to that moment. No. Why? Why should I? I had a choice. I had a choice point to turn around, and because I couldn't fight the urge and I needed to fight back, and I knew she was going to try to do this to me. She was getting pissed because her friend wouldn't give her money and blah, 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 blah. And that day I decided to dress up and look pretty. And so I've always made myself look dumb and dull and all of this because I never really had anything. And any time I had something, or it's like, ooh, somebody knows I got $1 in my pocket and now they're going to beg for it. And I'd give it to them, and I had no problems because I really thought that's what love was, until they got used to, oh, here she is again. Give it to me. Oh, that's just Brenda. She'll always give it. It came for advice. It came for money. It came for, it was just, nobody gave a rat's ass. And I'm like, wait, what? Good. That's where you're at. Okay, good. Get it back. Get it back. You can stop the abuse by not engaging. have to hear those voices, and you have to decide, do you want those voices to control you in any form? Now, I went and I healed and I did other things, but I realized I needed to question whether or not I needed to follow through on those voices, on those feelings. Good, Natalie, wonderful. She says, I have been doing better with not being reactive. And when we do this, when we are taught to reply, or because it's an automatic response, or we're supposed to go and be stuck in our OMGs because we're rehearsing or reliving an active in memory, you still, oh, thank you. You can still change. You still can change. You still have the choice points. Because when it cycles back around, and that evolution, if you go think of a Ferris wheel, when you get at the bottom, and then it goes up and around and comes down, that's the choice point every time. And you can change that. Yes, I'm learning the pull, and thoughts aren't mine. Exactly. And this is what I refer to as a vortex. Now, I'm just going to talk slowly about the vortex. Alicia, okay, wonderful. We have 2 minutes for Alicia. This vortex is like a broadcast. We have personal, we have chakra vortexes, we have personal vortexes, but we have this like a matrix vortex of how a person's personality is. So if somebody is wanting attention, they will put this vortex out. And this is kind of like when the child knows, oh yeah, I just need to act like this to get that. And the energy cord will go out. And this is why social intelligence and emotional intelligence needs to be developed in the new paradigm in this fifth dimension. In this quantum field, you're playing with it now. And this energy. So when you have this energy field that zaps in and out, you have got to know about that vortex pull. If you want to come live, I would love to have you come live, and that's $24. And if you want to do it in the room because you don't want to have your voice or anything, that's fine too. This is why you get the discount. I would love for people to come on so that there'd be another engagement so we can help others, but that depends on you. That depends on you. I know there's so many people that are quite shy, and that's okay. But these personal vortexes, you can learn not to have to be afraid, feel awkward, feel incompatible. You learn to see them as the program, and you can choose, do you need to respond? It's like looking at a TV set. They're no longer there. They are the program. They are that. And you don't have to feel guilt and shame getting sucked in. You can stop the sucking of the vortex. Literally, you can stop and say, I don't want it. I don't want it. You take and call you get to that choice point and you can change it. But you have to start learning to question. You have to start believing in yourself. You have to start, so you don't have to sit there and be in any pain. You don't have to. Wonderful. We have our first expedite. Amy. Now, Alicia, are you ready? These windows are about perceptions. And if you can't break that window, you're going to have to understand what perception are you still believing 1,000% true. Why did I say 1,000? It's because it's excessive in your brain, because it's like, what are you talking about? It's real. And this is how we approve of our reality. It's real. It's real. It's real. But your body, your soul is telling you it's not real. You can't change your perception. You need to change your perception, which changes your belief, which changes the way you function. So when I'm looking at something, I'm looking at how the knots. Now, in this case, I'm asking, do you not want to do something? Or it's how they do not want you to behave. So it's the energy coming to you about how they do not want you to be. So they're saying you have a behavior that I don't like. And is it something that you're hearing more often with people? And so what happens is it becomes the unconscious incompetent. It's the shit you programs, you don't understand what's happening. What is it? And I'm hearing that there is this martyr that you have to hurt yourself, get thrown under the bus, do less than, be deprived. And it's not something we intentionally mean to do so. Some people do. But if the program's running, has to do with that you've had to suppress yourself. You are the one that had to self-regulate and behave. No one else around you did. I'm looking at how you're the stable one. But yet, when nobody's looking, what happens? You are depleted as hell, and you're doing your best to find some way to recoup. Now, I don't know how old you are, but they're saying you're still developing. And what happens is that there's a certain amount of, I'm not going to tell, there's a certain amount of emotions that you don't know you're responding. So I'm going to tell just so that people understand, what does that mean? You can have a communication, but it's the tone that you're setting or that changes the expression of the words you're using. Most people don't realize that when they roll their eyes, it's louder than what they're saying. Or so what gesture is the body doing that? Okay, so I'm going to tattle on myself. I hadn't seen this program until I met somebody. Now, the only way I could, when I felt deprived or I felt cheated or I felt any of this stuff, I would say, well, and I would say it in a very sour graping way in front of the person without knowing it was a maneuver. Had no clue. How do I get what I want? And without being abrasive, without any of these things. And I can't remember what the person said. They said, I love you, and the behavior is saying that you have to guilt somebody into giving you what you want. You look at it, you want it, and then you say, you know, like your deprived thing or da 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 da, and then all of a sudden they're compelled to give it to you. And I'm like, I'm not very good at this, but apparently I you know, does it work? These are the hidden things that we can't be ashamed of, but turn around and say, whoa, I don't like when people use it on me, so why would I use it on anybody else? And when I saw that I did that, I had to pay attention to the words to which I was using, because I wanted that, but I didn't know how to ask for it. Because I learned when you're a kid, if you ask direct, they're going to tell you no. Now, I wouldn't do what my sisters did or my brothers did, so I found a different way. And because I was so bitch slapped next Tuesday, I was put into the passive state, so I couldn't talk with great courage or any way. So when I began to use success hope therapy and do other little healing tools like EFT, cord switching, creating my future with the golden lasso, I had to learn. And as I healed those emotions, the program started to change, the habits started to change, and then the benefits of how I talk and communicate come out so different. I caught myself doing the stare down not long ago. Isn't that weird? Isn't that just weird when you think about it? Hi, Carter. How you doing? So these are the things that we don't want to look at, but these are the things that we still have to be responsible for. And these are the things we have to wake up to. Like, let's say you are so frustrated that you're used to lashing out because you get frustrated in the brain, and then you say nasty, mean shit, and you're like, what are you talking about? You have to wake up to how your tone, your facial gestures, they speak 70% louder than words. And when you're throwing that energy, it throws a broadcast vortex, and it can affect you. It can affect everybody around you. If you want to grow, you have to start noticing all those little things. Not to shame yourself, but to say that's a part of my personality that I haven't looked at before, and that I am ready to change. See, Nikki became aware of the stare down. She says it made me feel awkward for doing it, but that's only because she woke up and goes, I'm doing it. Or if she do trying something new because she saw somebody else do it, oh, I'm going to try it. I don't know which way she did it. She is, and now I know how it makes others feel. That's the key. The shoe on the other foot, the other perspective, because out of the kaleidoscope of perspective, what do? We stay stuck at one perspective. And then this is our lesson to repeat. And so we go around the revolutionary wheel. Bam, we do it again. And this is the stuff we can't see. It's like the nose on your face until you intentionally look. Oh, I do. I can see my nose. But otherwise, it's bam, bam, bam. Do you understand? You have to look at all of those things that you don't want to see. And when you start putting the shoe on the other foot, when you start understanding that phrase of what it means, you will be so impressed with the way your growth is. Because you're choosing to say, I don't want it anymore. And when you start to feel how it affects others, you won't have to die, go and watch it and go, oh my God, it was horrible. You can start learning here and live here, learn to awaken and see these different perspectives here, instead of having to keep repeating the hell loop, not just in your thinking and when you're alive, but when you die, physically, spirit moves on, creates a new personality. Oh, we're doing the same shit, different lifetime again? Damn, what am I not seeing? The unconscious, incompetent stories. This is why when tribal, we do our best to keep healing and we keep getting there so you can see the shit that you don't really want to see. And then you take responsibility by saying, do I really need that? I don't want it done to me. Why would I want to do it to others? All right. So between, I think Amy usually likes to go last as the anchor. So we have April, open it up, they said. Yes, we do. We have a pay it forward. Okay, gotcha. So April, Thor, you do you want to come on? Just use your voice. You want to come in person, and I appreciate it. So you can help me heal, grow, and be an example for others. I appreciate that very much. So do you want to? Yes. So Amy will go last. So April, get ready. I'm gonna after I do Nita, because Nita said that she wants 2 minutes, and so she will get just that. And that's what we're going to go. And then get ready. I'll send you the Zoom's fine. Wonderful. Get ready. I'll send it to you. Nita, Nita, Nita. Ah, the intolerance, that intolerance tube. Oh, I can just hear you talking in your Spanish voice, or I hear your accent in my head. You're sticking this tube of how somebody reacted, and you're showing yourself, I can't do that. So the intolerance tube is filling up, and I says with 3 people or 3 particular signature, and it has to do with 3 particular archetypes, and you're just like, oh, they just so dumb, they don't get it, they don't see their behavior, and then all of a sudden there is this ho hum where it's just that you're kind of getting bored with that. What does this mean? Well, you're starting to realize that you're just done with something, but you can't figure it out. So this is where you're going to just ask, thank you, Spirit, a little bit more. Show me a little bit more. And show me the behaviors, show me, because they're saying behaviors. Show me something. Show me the stubbornness. Show me and make them stand up like gems. And they said, the first gem is stubborn, L2S. Because when you start to work with yourself and you're doing L2S, begin to notice that all of a sudden it'll be like, whoa, stubborn. And then you're going to redefine stubborn. One of the things that I've learned about stubborn is that there's a certain amount of bitterness, of resentment and anger. When you allow yourself to notice the aggressive energy that has been building because you couldn't cope, handle, and deal, they want you to start doing L2D about how you're about ready to lose your shit. And you're going to take and you're going to allow yourself R3S, because man, you get muddled with your emotions. And they said you're getting deeper into that little 3-year-old. Hey, Amber, how you doing? Thank you. All right. Hey, hopefully your life's getting good. We have changed a few things. Just look on the board if you want to notice things. We're going to take, and I'm going to get the link because Miss Thor wants to work on her stuff and she's willing to come on to be, where'd she go? Oh. There she is. And this is live. Live, you get a lot of benefits. We'll see what happens. Oh, did I give you a point? I think they definitely want you to see it, but if you're going to do it, they want you to do R3S because you got to learn how to self-soothe different aspects of that for Alicia, okay? Different aspects. So I would definitely say it's an R3S thing because that perspective. And what are you going to be looking at? Joy gave for 1 minute. Excellent. I'm going to give, I got Joy next. Okay, so is there something about envy? L2S for envy. L2S. You got R3S and L2S for envy. Okay, that was for Alicia. You're welcome. Why is, okay, hold on. Something's not right. Okay, so it takes her for a second or two. And Joy, I want you to start taking the stop in the insanity. And to do that would be your tripper warmer keeps going off and you really can't, you got to be able to take and get in control. So I want you to take your right wrist, okay? And what you're going to do is that you are going to line up and you're going to get to that third one. So 3 fingers down, okay? Make the letter C. R3S, nice and soft. You're going to sit there and I want you to feel, I want you to begin to know what is your insane. I feel insane. Feel the stress. Your body says, I can't even handle the stress anymore. So as soon as you start to feel that, because all the words come in afterward, I feel unworthy. I feel this, I feel that. At this point, just start to begin to, oh my God, I feel insane. You got to get the body to stop wanting to be insane because it drives you start to go farther into high beta. The second thing I want you to do is when you start to calm that down, go over to, right wrist, first position, shouldn't have took that off, but first position, nice and soft. And I want you to feel how it's the same shit, different day. It's dogma. It's the same stuff. It's happening again, and again, and again. Okay, Joy? Those 2 points, we got to get that part of the brain to want to say, okay, we don't have to go into army mode. We don't have to go into fear. We don't have to go into the all of that. Hello. Okay, we're going to get your mic on in just a second here.
Hello.
Hi, darling. Hi. Hello. So I so appreciate you coming on. I really do. And being the voice, that makes it even more important. Then I'm going to give you 2 extra minutes. And so the same for when Amy comes on.
Thank you.
Now, I love those earrings. So what did you specifically want to talk about? Explain to me how you know your stage. What does it feel like? Okay, because I can really see this pressure.
Just, I can't, it's the emotional thing that's just overwhelming me and crying and upset. And
okay. There you go. L2D. She don't have to have words. Left wrist, second position, pushing deep. And I want you to put that on the scale from 0 to 10, 10 being, oh, you can feel it.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to hold this space for you. You go ahead and heal.
And I've been doing this for like, not necessarily L2D on and off, yes, but for the last couple hours and a couple other things. And I just,
okay.
I don't
know. I want you to just see, know that. I want you to just feel. I want you to feel how love, where is it? What's happened to it? Is it a weapon? Do you have to hide it? Because all I keep hearing is that I'm about feel like shit. I know this so well. I feel like shit. And they said that this is you, but it's not. But this is what you believe is you. And you are getting ready to tap into this feel like shit when you were 13. At 13, what about me, damn it? And at the same time, you couldn't solve it. You couldn't move forward. You couldn't move in that certain direction. Does this make sense?
When I was 13, the only thing I think when I was 13, there was a couple of neighbors down the road. That's the only thing I could think of that's traumatic. Other than that,
lack of power. Can you
Yeah.
feel how you had no control?
yeah,
And that's what I want you to feel, because you've had to try to control everything for so long. And that's because you have this feeling that you can't control. There you go. What happens if you don't control it?
my body goes into, I don't know, it just does what it's doing now.
Exactly. It feels like it's going into a shit show. See, I don't like the lack of power. What happens when you have a lack of power? What happens? Why? And this is why you have to police everything, because I don't want to feel like this.
I don't know. This overwhelms me.
Yes. Lack of control feels out of control. And it overwhelms you. What happens when you feel out of control?
Cry and I feel icky.
Right. And oh my God, I just can't. And I asked your body, I said, it's an overwhelm. And the stress just doesn't stop. That's why you're like, you didn't know how to close your it then, but you are now. So right now you're going to start to notice how everything resonates. Oh my God. I have to control this. I have to control this, or something bad's going to happen. What do you think's going to happen?
Depends on what subject you want to talk about. I got a bunch of them.
Well, pick one that pops up.
Well, I guess if I don't do things, I don't present things right on Friday, I guess, I don't know, I could lose my business. I could lose my...
Yes, you're going to die. You're going to feel like death. You're going to feel like loss. You're going to feel. You don't ever want to feel that again. And it's the build up to the thing. Build up. And it's stress. It's pure stress. Because it's ongoing. It's anticipation. It sits there. It's stress. And you resent the fact, and this is the part of you, you resent that you have to feel this. As a little girl in you is like, it's your fault. If you would have done this or do that, can you feel that? Now notice the little girl, look at the snapshot. She's very upset right now. She's very resentful. She's very angry. She's very, Remove, transcend, and let it go. I want you to begin to notice that I have to solve it. I have to solve it. So you developed that you had to control everything to live a certain way. So you wouldn't have this feeling right here. But the attraction factor is bullshit comes in your face so that you can address this right now. Give yourself permission to say, oh my God, I'm going to heal this. I give myself permission to heal out this pain.
Give myself permission to heal this pain.
Now notice you must live in control over what? Feel what you're feeling. The shitty, suppressed, something's always sitting on you, or somebody's doing something to you. Can
Well,
you
it's
feel it?
feeling, yeah, well, it's feeling lighter.
Good. Now
No,
again, notice somebody is bullying you in some form at any point. Can you feel that? And you have that.
It's an injustice kind of sort of
There you
thing.
go. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's exactly what your little has said. She's screaming. She says, it's never been resolved. Because then I go, and then because it's never been resolved, I have to feel like shit. And then I got to constantly track in people to do this to me. And then, I don't want to do this. So I have to control everything and I have to police everything and I have to point out the flaws and this and that so I can stay safe. Let the little girl feel. Tell her, listen, let's feel. Now I want you to switch to R1D because you created so many limitations with yourself. And you're like, I have to limit myself. I can't do this. I can't do that. And that's all you hear people do. And that's why they have that pressure, is because if I just do this, maybe they'll leave me alone. But then I got to control everything. So I'm going to push that limit. But you restrict inside of yourself so deep.
Yeah, I thought I've done work on this. Is it just another layer?
Yes. Now, stay with me.
Okay.
Feel how you can't move. You are limited because they put restrictions on you.
Yeah.
And these imposed limitations causes you to yearn. Stop. Now I'm even going back further. I'm going back to 2 years old. And this 2-year-old felt so incompatible. There was no control. You couldn't manipulate anybody to get anything. Your 2-year-old wanted something to happen, a particular outcome, and couldn't get it. And she was controlled. And to be controlled hurts. They impose limitations on you. And you've carried this bitterness of anger and disappointment for so long. Let her feel. Let her feel. And all you wanted was praise from them. But all they kept giving you was punishment. But look what I've done. And they're like, so? Feel the punishment. Notice the punishment hurt. Always a looming threat. You better behave, April. Do as I say, April. Ignore that. Now notice you didn't die. Notice you don't have to keep believing this, because this pattern that you have to control everything only brings the shit you've been going through. And the only reason you have to feel like you control things is because they put such limitations on you. And they looked at you with such bitterness and such anger. You took that on. And it hurt so deep that someone you loved was angry and was disappointed in you. And their bitterness probably was not even really about you as much as, I'm embarrassed by everybody looking around. I don't want. So think about your parents. Think about how, did you have to be a good little girl? Did you have to, and you probably, maybe you saw, however you look at it. The point is that you became a spitfire when you got older. When you contain something that builds up, it's going to explode. How many restrictions were you on when you were a kid? Do you know?
I don't.
Okay.
I had
So
chores, but I don't know. I don't.
okay. Now this is what you're going to have to do. Do you know what parenting style your parents had? Did they go and I'm so disappointed in you, April?
I think my mom tried to talk to me. My dad just yelled, I think,
Okay.
about a lot of stuff. And he was probably, I don't remember that young, but when
Okay. Any point,
get
any time in your
older,
life, did you ever see them treat other people like shit?
no, he treated me like shit by, trying to put everything off on me because he couldn't stand up and just say what he wanted to say.
There you go. He put everything on you. There's the injustice. You have silently brewed
Mhm.
and thought about it. And that's what R1D is. Very good. So you feeling any better?
Yeah, I do
Okay,
feel
take your
better.
hand down. This is a big one. You're going to write down R1D.
Okay.
And I need you to rewatch this again and look at the gems because there is very specific things I said. And I don't want you getting hung up on, oh, I was little. Oh, I want you to lack of power. You're starting to crack open. Did somebody put you under pressure? Limitations, limitations, limitations. And have you always been punished, punished, punished? No matter even when you did it right.
I don't know
And
about that, but
see, and the thing is, this is the unconscious incompetent. It's sitting there.
there's a lot that, like, I had no clue what this was. I just felt it and I couldn't. I tried tools and I couldn't. It just overwhelmed me.
Right,
And
right. Now notice that you're going to watch the beginning of this and what overwhelm feels like. Lack of power. You've got this upcoming event. It's like being in a car accident and you're flipping and there's nothing to hold on to, or you're falling and you got nothing to recover. You can't catch yourself. You can't balance yourself. You can't stop it from happening. Do you understand? And I feel like that's what you've been repeating is I can't stop it from happening. Your son being hurt, killed. Okay. I can't stop it from happening. Does this make sense? You've
yeah,
seen
that makes
animals
sense.
get hurt and you feel like I can't stop it from happening. To the point you have made sure that those animals don't need to die needlessly.
Right.
Did you see any animal get hurt that you couldn't stop
Oh yeah,
when you were younger?
many. My mom ran over one. My mom ran over our dog. My dachshund got out and she got killed by a cat. Cat ran through the yard and she chased it and ran across the road and I watched the car hit her.
Notice the out of control. I can't make it stop. That's the theme. Okay. And that is where you're going to start working with R1D. Now, let's get the brain real quick. I'm giving her more than 10 minutes. So again, when you guys pay to come on, you have to understand this worth. Ready? You're going to go to the right side. You're going to go to the liver on the right side, and you're going to take and you're going to rub that real quick because the chemical peptides are in your body.
Magnet?
No, you don't need a magnet, just your finger. Push in and rub. The chemical peptides are way too much right now, and it's affecting the way she's thinking. So then you're going to also go to your big toe on the right, big toe, go behind the ankle bone and just rub. No magnet this time. The kidneys and the liver needs to flush out these chemical peptides, so that here you go. She's a biological. Okay, so now I want you to, yes, the subject's there, but you think about your head. Do you feel like you can now understand it and work with it more and heal it out more?
Well, now that you told me what it is, yes, I can.
Okay.
I can work on it, heal it out.
Okay.
It was just a lot of stuff. It wasn't just that. It was a bunch.
You were stuck sitting there out of control, and all you did was sit afterwards. in that hell again and again and again. Those two factors, I can't make it stop. And then you had to be in the hell. That's definitely R1D at this point.
Okay.
And just make sure you measure and look at any situation in life where you feel like you're out of control and something bad happened. And you could not cope, handle, deal, or pacify it. R1D is going to be your best friend. And you keep doing this until you feel like it doesn't own you anymore. I want you to look at each of your littles that had to see that dog. Again, heal it out. Okay? All right. I love you. And thank you so much for coming on and letting me see your voice and your face. You are definitely worth listening to. I love you, big.
Thank you. Love
All
you
right.
too.
Bye-bye. So there's added benefits for doing this. Okay. There's added benefits. So if there's anybody else that has sent coins and things like this, let me know. I'm going to, open this up. And like I said, the next person is Amy. Here we go. Gotta find her. There she is. Okay. Now, I'm gonna just lickety split real quick to the bathroom, and I will be right back. Just give me a second. It's like chilly in here today. Sunshine's finally out. Another, what is it? Another La Nina this year. Another one. Okay. So I believe I sent that off. Are you learning anything? Are you healing? Are you allowing? I feel like I'm missing something on my screen. I have to bring the other one up. Okay. You have a headache. Ugh, pain. Not good. Yes, if you're ever on Facebook or TikTok or Clapper, you are more than welcome to rewatch your part to get a handle on it and heal it out. And you can do that by going through Facebook and you look in media. All right, where's her gorgeous face? Come on. She's grown so much. I don't, unless she wants to just give me a voice today, that's fine. There she is.
Hi.
Hi. There you are. You've had a good day, it looks like.
I have.
You have. Excellent. Excellent. And okay, so usually if people are watching, you know, when somebody has devoted themselves to ongoing healings, I like to give an extra few minutes, not just because, but to show there's progression. And have you had tell me anything, any epiphanies, anything, any turnaround times, any tests, anything, and what did you do for it? Or if you noticed your growth?
I caught myself today, just maybe an hour or so ago.
Okay.
Going into FU to this one person who, and I know you know who I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah.
And it's like, so then I asked, okay, how old are you? I was about 10. And I'm like, okay, what point do I have to hold? And I held that point for a couple minutes and it was gone.
Okay. And notice it sounds like a repetitive story, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is your live experience. She caught it. She has a turnaround time. But why does it keep repeating itself? Now, this is where you can ask your soul anything. Okay. And so that's where I'm going to jump to at this point. unless you have something else specific.
No.
Okay. So we're going to dive deeper because usually these are hooked to the mothership. This means that you've come back usually many lifetimes. Oh, why? So we're going to dive deeper and we're going to ask the soul, why does this person seem to create this response in me? So territory is the very first thing.
Mhm.
So when I look at the seat, bang, ding, 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 ding. Okay, she knows. The question then becomes this signature. And I'm hearing is that you had it between the brothers, territorial issues with your brothers growing up. Now, if you look back, she's probably, chances are she's like, we always remember like this way because we don't remember because we are taught when you get older, your brain, stops thinking of them that way. But there are very specific things. Territorial, I feel in a way you weren't allowed to lay your claim because your one brother was sick.
Mhm.
But you laid claim to him as he's your territory. And from whom?
I just heard mom.
Ooh, and is it true? Whoa.
No.
Now, I asked, did she hear it correctly? Okay, but I heard another echo in a past life. Yes, she did. And I asked, why? Because he was my kid in the past life. Now, this is the most strangest part, but when they start to overlap and anything like this. So, and somebody once told me real quick, hey, like I was watching a movie or a TV series, and if you understand how time works, there's no such thing as time. But if you can understand how I can be in any place at any given moment, and then everything is done in a spiral, so then you can understand that if you don't know, or if you believe a certain way, why do you have that limitation? So I was watching Outlander, and it's like, well, that can't happen at that. How do you know that? Because it's breaking your belief system. Now, what I'm getting at is the action. I don't like mom giving attention to my brother, not because I want my mother's attention, because I already learned I'm not getting it. But for some reason, on a past life, he was yours. Now, how does that affect you now? It affects you because the thing is that you couldn't cope with. And so you attached yourself and they become your territory, and that soothed you. So it doesn't even have to really be about the past life. But you're taking and you're touching the thing that's mine that makes me feel. And I asked if it has to do with safety. Yes. Security. Yes. Stability. Yes. Sanity. Yes. Serenity. Yes. Space. Yes. And when he died and they took him away, like they took everything of him away, it was your mother that did it. That bitch took everything away. And mom's laughing her ass off. She goes, I know, I love her. But when you were little, you'll be damned if you're going to have anybody take stuff away from you that makes me feel safe, secure, stability, sanity, serenity, and space. Why? Because mom wouldn't give you that attention. Other people wouldn't give you that attention. And he gave you attention to some degree, even though, like, you're the person that will pick up a toy and love it for hours. And you saw him as that little, even though he's bigger than you, you saw him that I could take care of him. He needs me. You were able to do something. But the moment that it was taken away, you have never stopped blaming her. And I don't think you've actually forgiven her, because that little girl in you didn't understand from that one perspective Because when you've had, I moved, this is the thing, I moved here. All my stuff's there. My identity's there. My identity is there. Something I can grasp onto.
Mhm.
They've even proven that when a child understands its roots and has something to hang on to, they have a firmer grasp in life. Okay? Something was taken away.
Mhm.
And you lost that identity, and there was no tools to cope with that. No transitioning tools. It's like, I know somebody that got ripped from one country to another and was thrown into not the grade that they were supposed to, but one grade higher, and all the rules were so different. They felt like they were drowning, but they were forced in military style that they had to learn. You have to study. If you're falling behind, you're embarrassing me. You don't have no identity, nothing to grasp onto. You can spiral with depression. You can spiral with anxiety. You will have to feel like you have to control things because your territory was taken. Your brother, was a coping tool. It was how you connected in your world because nobody else had time for you. And it was okay because you could give and you can love and you can do this. And because he was sick, he would take it, but then he didn't mind taking it. There was only one time, I think, that he felt, stop it. But, so we're talking about how you never got to recover. You never got to transition. It was ripped. It was hell. You had to deal with it. That was it. And it's like anybody has a trauma response, there's no transitioning. There's nothing. Territory, you have to keep giving it up. You have to keep sharing it. I don't want to. Is that all it is? No. Your soul is saying that it has to constantly play this out. I can't heal it. I can't cope with it. I can't resolve this. I can't get it back. I can't. Even though you're an adult and you're not really losing any territory. It's the child. And then I said, is it more of a particular outcome syndrome? Not this one. You know how Thor was, it was about the fact is you just feel like you're out of control and you got nothing to grasp onto. Same thing here. There's no way to control it. There's no way to recovery. There's no way to feel like you're okay, you're at home, you're at peace. So they want you to understand that you felt small because you couldn't change it. Just like Thor, you couldn't change it. And so we're going to have you do R3D because you didn't know what to do with the overwhelm. You had to put it somewhere. This sounds like it's going to be a while, only because there's something to do with having a conversation with your mother. And I think you're going to have to do a cord switching and your healing tool so that you can actually get closure. But you're also going to be doing another path. You have to understand the shoe on the other foot, meaning you have to get another perspective, understand why she did what she did. Not be in pain about it. Why? See, like she would clear everything out. Why do you think you won't clean your house? Move things, get rid of things, Why? Because
in my 7-year-old's mind, that's getting rid of them.
Right. But is it really true?
No.
Okay, now she can check with her heart. And the thing is that she has to help that 7-year-old. She couldn't cope, handle, and deal at the time, so she developed this particular part of who she is. Nothing wrong with it. It's just that it's not serving her. It's costing her energy. It's repeating in her life over and over and over. So you understand the homework, yes? You
Yeah.
had to remain small. So L3D it. You felt so small and insignificant while all this shit was happening. That's your first one. Super small. I can't do anything. Plus you were small. So just imagine from a small child's point of view. You were small. And then you're going to do R1S because it's like, I didn't get to let go. I didn't get to say goodbye. I didn't get to create closure. You just ripped it from me. Just like a couple years ago. I didn't get to say goodbye.
Yeah,
A couple years ago, you're like, I ain't ever going to say goodbye. But your 7-year-old never got a chance to have any closure.
Mm-mm. No. And I look at, there's been many people that have passed in the last, say, 7 years since my dad died. I cannot make myself go to a funeral.
I had a hard time going to hospitals and funerals. And it's like, now I'm okay now. It's just, it really was bad.
And these are people that my parents were friends with. So they were my friends. But it's like, yeah, no, can't do it.
And that's okay. That's okay. And I asked, is that anything to do with? Yeah. It's not just to say goodbye. Okay. Again, understand she doesn't want to go through that particular feeling because they're triggers. So let me ask before you go, when your brother died, were you allowed to go to the funeral?
Oh yeah, I have vivid memories.
Okay. Were you allowed to see in the casket?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. My great aunt and her partner at the time, he brought me a doll. It was I remember it was a rag doll, and I think I still have it. And I put that in the casket thinking that Colonel could have it. And Mom said, no, you keep it. But it had been in there with him. And then I remember sitting next to my godmother on hymnals because I was so short. But I remember that. And then I don't remember much else, but I have those vivid memories of sitting there going, why is everybody crying? Because I think I saw him.
A part of you didn't understand the concept at that point. You saw him in the casket, but the idea of what death is hadn't quite developed to you really what that meant.
Right.
And so when you felt his presence with like things and stuff like that, you couldn't understand really, like when, put it this way, you feel Lily's presence in certain spaces more so than you do anywhere else. These are where your pictures, and you may have to check pictures, but pictures and sound and feeling of how you have remembered those him in those spaces, just like with Lily, you remember there. So that'll be a much stronger connection because of the firing and wiring. And this, but the idea that you didn't have closure, so you hadn't gotten that concept. So if you went home and they took it all away, it's as if he didn't exist. Your identity just got ripped from you, and nobody would talk about him. Nobody would help you heal. And you're like, I'll be damned if that process is going to happen again. So you have to have a conversation with your mother. And your little girl has got to, this is where we're going to ask for grace and ease, because the universe is going to develop for you a way so that you can understand, because you're all about sculpting and healing and growing, why she did what she did. Whether it's through a movie, whether you're going to have a certain type of experience, but somehow you're just going to say, thank you, Spirit. I'm going to be awake when it happens. When it's happening, I'm going to go, holy shit. I mean, really kind of work at the end result. You're going to get that epiphany. I get why she did it, because I would have done the same. Or I would, even though you're running around going, I'd never do that to be the same.
I think I do get why she did it, because
that's
she
good.
couldn't.
Yeah, it's still low, so they want you to get it eventually.
It's because she couldn't cope, handle, and deal with having his things in
Reminders.
the house, in our room, because I shared a room with him until I was 7, till my other brother moved out and I moved into his room.
See, and that's the thing. You are stuck. And I said, what do you feel with towards your mother? And it is about taking. I can't tolerate when people take something. Ooh, this is going to be interesting, because it's not just objects, because I'm feeling you're going to be doing some I'm not going to say anymore. You'll know, because you'll feel it pop. And you're going to go, you know.
Yeah, I love the epiphany pops that I get at 3 a.m. and you're sitting on the other side of the phone and you're like, oh my God.
L3D that, because you're going to be doing some feeling small. You have to understand the point of view of what I'm seeing is that when you feel small, it's like this. No, there's no control. And you feel so small that you feel like you can't make an impact. But the moment and that's why your adult part of you, like if you had, I don't know if it's Nelly or whatever, you ain't touching this shit. Why? But you have to look at both. The guard dog is protecting what? Your territory.
My heart.
Is that true? Yes. All right. Thank you very much, my dear. It'll be an interesting trip. I look forward
it will be an interesting trip. It will be interesting.
Thank you, Spirit, for grace and ease.
Yes.
All right. We'll talk to you later, hon. All right. Bye.
I love you.
Love you too. Bye. All right. Okay. You know, when you are allowing yourself to grow, there are different levels to where you're at. Again, we don't want to admit to these things. We don't want the shame. We don't want anybody else to know. These can be our terrible little secrets. Oh my God. You decide. You decide. Okay. So gotcha. All right. I just wanted to double check that. Now, when it comes to healing, so I'm going to look at Laura, and I want you to, you said that you're in pain. I can see that she's just my moderator. And my moderator is just doing my orders. And you've had to go there and say what you had to say. The question is, can you see that as being stuck? And if you can say yes, you have to be willing to work with me. If you're wanting something in return, because energy exchange is what's happening here. So I'm willing to help you if you're willing to at least give me your voice. I can send you a link. We can heal it down out. We can help you. Okay, that's if you're still here, Laura, if you want that. We can help you get your pain down. We can help clear your mind. We can help you get into the next part of your life that you have to go through, because it is very stressful. That's if you're still here, you have an opportunity. Okay, you have an opportunity. So this is a show to help you understand that you can heal your shit, that you can move out of stuff. This is the show that you came here because you're looking for how to feel compatible again, how to get out of pain, how to change what's happening. You're here. So you've got to decide if you want to get out of it even further. Why do you need to live into it 24 hours? I was lifting weights. I still lift weights. And my husband says, today's your day. It's been 9 days. And I had no idea that time had gone by. So it's time to get up. It's time to motivate yourself. It's time to get to where you want to be. Every day, people says, how many times a day do you heal? And I say every day. Oh my God, I don't have time for that. Well, you need to make time for yourself, or else you're going to, because if you don't make time for yourself now, then disease will take over and you won't have any way to be able to take care of yourself then. So it is important to know that you can be self-empowered and you can do things. She must have left. Okay. Now, I give out a few things, and this is where I'm going to give out a few things. I'm going to look towards April Lynn. And April Lynn, you are meant to look at something that you're like behaviors. And as you're starting to notice the behaviors, the car is speeding, this and this and that, notice how the body wants to overcompensate, to correct, to do something, to fight, or what, something to do with overcompensating that has a lot to do with feeling that you feel deficient, that they have more power than you. And once you do that, they also want you to understand that the way that the energy of non-gestures are more of a gaslighting trip than anything else. And it's like, they have this power. Notice the placement of power. They want to make sure you do R3S as well. And when you feel, I want you to notice how your nerves and your thing is that you feel like it's all invading. If that's the case, then R3S it, because you feel the duress. The duress is pushing to come up with a result somebody else wants. And you're like, I, and that's what you're going to do. Do you understand? Nancy Burke. You're going to notice that there is something that you've learned. And the anxiety that you were taught to some degree was that if you put just enough anxiety in you, enough fear in you, that you'll move. Like, well, some people will get disease and the fear wakes them up so they can do something about it. And Spirit wants you to take charge now. Instead of waiting for the bitch slap to come, you don't have to feel helpless, and you know, you don't have to feel like this is comfortable. Your comfort zone is saying that feel this overwhelm, and it feels like your everyday normal life, and it's time to say, no, I don't have to feel like that. Right wrist, third position, nice and deep. R3D. R3D. Then we're going to turn to Autumn. You are vulnerable. And you are trying to prove a point, and they won't listen. And then they push the point, and you're like, I feel vulnerable. And that stress alone, that stress alone is, they keep telling you that this is what love is. And you're like, yeah, it's not. I feel like no matter what you're doing is that you're like the little child, or they are like the little child that, you know, you keep putting in the corner and you say, here's your timeout. And then they look at you and you make contact. And then all of a sudden they get their way and you put them in the corner, and then they talk, and then you finally talk back and they're like, oh, she spoke. I got her. Now I can tell you again, and I'm going to get control over you. So you're going to do R2D. because it is this trickery that you don't catch. You're going to have to be okay to decide not to respond. And it's the, I don't want to respond, or I feel like I have to respond, which is R2S. And that is one of the things you're going to have to focus on. And if I look and I say, okay, Linda, when you look at this, it's about an emotional and petrified. And this become part of your excuse in life. You're emotionally and petrified. And it was your excuse of your 13-year-old. I'm petrified and I can't do it. But now you're getting older and it's like, is the energy really invading in your space like you saw it when you were 13? And you have to start learning to truth test and find out if that's even true. Like when I hit my hand and I go, and then I didn't even hit my hand. Why do I need to respond that way? So you're starting to look at that 13-year-old and say, hold on, I don't need to behave that way. Or I don't have to feel pressure that I can't behave the way I want. And this energy keeps popping up from what I can see. And so this repetitive story. So I'm going to say R1D, right wrist, first position deep. Okay. Miss Teresa P. I see a certain amount of accused. Now this is weird because I feel like this has to do with you finding your value in your voice. I think some people have learned to take advantage of you. And in the past, these old belief systems, well, you're a friend, so therefore you need to do it free. You're this, there you have to do it free. Oh, I want to do it just because I love it. Well, the part of you that's doing it because you love it is helping you grow to become. The only problem is now Spirit is telling you that you're incompatible and you have to start doing this energy exchange. And you're going to need to start doing L3D because there's a part of you that don't feel safe to take that next step in your adventure. So R3S that out. And then I want you to notice that you emotionally repressed how you couldn't, those strange, weird feelings. And you're like, oh, I gotta, they're going to blame me. They're going to say I did it wrong. So I'm going to do L2S. So you can self-regulate that feeling beforehand. And then Carter, what I want you to notice is there's something about don't. You keep telling yourself, don't feel. There's a phrase you say. Don't, it's all in caps. Don't feel, don't something. And they said what they want you to understand is that others, they're meaning people, others is that others' action had caused you to, you had a bad experience with others' actions. And so you're stuck in this. And I don't know if it's a PTS loop or what it is, but you're stuck in other people's actions. And you can't let go of that. So then you keep looking for that injustice or that the power you can't help that. And then you're looking for an enemy. And it could be that you were trained that way, but they want you to do R1D because you had to do that. You created self-imposed limitations. And at one point, you're going to eventually get down to some of that healing you needed to do. And there's a certain amount of regret energy. And then you're going to L2D that. Okay. So learning how to do things in life, you've got to decide, do I stay asleep or do I wake up? If I wake up, how do I want to wake up? Some people have woke up. Some people have woke up in such a way. Yes, Carter. And so that they had a major bitch slapped out of their life and thrown out of their comfort zone and into that you can't do that anymore. And you're thrown from the frying pan into the fire. And your child, part of you, hasn't learned skills. Just the old paradigm skills. And the thing is that you had to learn how to control, operate, and maneuver, and those things don't and won't work in the fifth dimension. You can wake up gently, or you can wake up at the bitch slap. And you don't have to go through hell to get to where you're going. There is another road. So I want to reach you all to help you understand that you don't have to be doing life every day a certain way. There are a certain amount of pains that you may have, but do you need to keep them? Do you have to control everything because you felt so out of control and incompatible? And Spirit tells me when you start to feel like you're going to be, oh my God, it's going to happen. And it feels crazy. This is where a lot of your blood will just stay in your limbs and they are not going to go anywhere. Well, if that's the case, if you can't do this because your mind has to deal with something else, there's several different ways. I mean, I just learned how to do a cup of peace where I can just sit there and I'm intentionally grabbing my cup of cocoa or coffee or whatever it is, calming tea, and I'm sitting in with Spirit and I'm taking a time out. And everything still is going on around me, but we're not going to think about it. We're just going to put on something funny. And anything that comes to mind, we don't talk about it. We just talk about peace and love. We look for that moment. And you're just constantly saying, thank you, Spirit, for solving it. Thank you, Spirit. So when that comes up, thank you, Spirit. And that cup of peace can save your ass because it can really help the nerves. I have learned that when I'm completely stressed, I will grab either or both of the heart points under the pinky, and I will push in and I will begin to rub them. And I will just sit there and rub them. But I also notice that when I get there, I also have to push from here to here, that fat part, here to here, and the small intestine, because those small intestine and the heart, those meridians, they are on the same element of fire, and those two are supposed to support each other. So I'll sit there and I will rub those 2 points. And I just kind of start saying, thank you, Spirit. And I don't have to play in all these energy fields. Questions and inquiries. This is why tribal unit is important, because when you come in, you're learning and you're healing, and you're learning and you're healing, and you're learning. And then it's a very low key. It's the building foundation necessary. I'm not even sure how to do this next part, but in October, I know I need to advertise to find people. But if you're looking for a way to really shift your world, you've got to be willing to do the work. And that requires you to do a couple things. Learning how to use awareness, giving yourself permission to find the peace, to allow yourself to know how you know it, and then to want to apply the tool. Then after that, you'll have to experience life. It's already there. It's already happening. But I'm going to teach you how to see it. I want to teach you how to see it, and then how to use a tool to help you heal it out. You can still stay in your comfort zone, but paying attention and responding in a very healthy manner to how your environment is will help you even further to take control in a very healthy spiritual way of your life. Yes, it will cost, but you're worth it. I'm willing to put in the time and the effort, and I will give in a lot in return. But you've got to step up in your world first. And it's good that you can ask, but it's better when you can just start to learn how to self-empower. Because when you be able to do that, you'll be able to self-soothe, self-regulate, self-heal, and then you'll take that next step of starting to self-realize, to creating to get to the self-actualization. When your safety, security, stability, sanity, serenity, and space, that freedom starts to balance, the added benefits just seek for it, that joy, that love, that abilities of clairvoyance, all these things about joy and peace and harmony. You'll begin to learn how that will begin to take care of you, support you. These will, you don't have to work for it. They're just benefits that will be there. They have been covered and smothered up like with dirty clothes, dirty laundry, dirty baggage for so freaking long. Yes, thank you, Spirit, for the means for taking the classes. You start saying, thank you, Spirit, I can see myself. I pay for the classes. I see myself growing. I see myself going there. I want you to say you're worth it. I want you to say you're going to do it. And not only will these classes, but like, what stops you? And we're going to do some troubleshooting in class. What stops you? Why didn't you do your soul work? Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you make the video? Why didn't you use the healing show? Why? And then we troubleshoot. Sometimes people get stuck in a pattern like PSTD or PTSD. I'm not even sure which way it is now. But why? And we can help you start to build different patterns and pathways in your brain, get that stronger and healthier. Somebody said that they had gone to cranial sacral and they said, oh, you're so tight. All this is, gosh, that's, and then they had a session with me and then they go back and, oh, wow, whatever you're doing, keep doing. Because that's changed. I'm looking for more proof of that from when somebody else begins to notice, whether you're a doctor or cranial sacral therapist or your Reiki healer or whatever, somebody notices that there's something has shifted. Because if they have noticed, chances are they know what they're doing. And that gives you a new sign that, hey, maybe I should keep going back to this particular person. But if people need to tune in and find out more, I want you to start asking the universe, show me where I have grown. How this was working, how I have a better life. Show me. And Spirit will show you. You have to then start waking up to look at it. Because that'll be the little light of hope. And it'll be the flame that's going to light, the candle of hope that's going to light the love, joy, peace, and harmony. You can do this. You can do this. All right. So I'm going to just double check everything. You guys have been wonderful. And in tribal, you're going to get to experience, because I think me and my husband are going to go to Cairns in Australia, and you get to be on another vacation with me, see the different sites. I think we're going to fly, so you may see different pictures and things, airplane style to, depends on what it is we're going to do. I have no idea when, but I know that's coming out. I thought it was going to be Uluru, but we're going to take that trip too, just not yet. I don't know when, but I feel like the tribal members get to see and explore and travel with me. Where am I now? What am I doing? What's it look like? All right. Like I said, I double checked everything. And this has been a good day. And I thank Spirit for showing me that people love and care and they want it. Please watch other old videos. You can get more out of what I'm teaching. You can do so many things. And when you allow yourself to, let's see, when you allow yourself to be able to heal, you will be happier because you did it. Why? Because then you can measure, you can grow. Now, if you just want to keep hurting people, you have to ask yourself, do you like your personality? Is that what you want to be? Is that going to support you? Are they? Is it? You have to decide. Amy says, what I've noticed is that my blood sugar is lower than it was when I met you 3 3/4 years ago. Now normal and off antidepressants. Checked by her doctor. So it's not just out of, so that's a good thing. All right, guys, I'm going to sign off. Just remember that I will be here tribal tomorrow for those that are there. And we will be talking with you on Wednesday, Thursday, depending where you live. And it'll be the same time, same place. Same soul channel. All right. I will say, resolve to evolve, heal instead of deal. Remember and say, thank you, Spirit, as often as you can. Remember, you can heal that. When in doubt, start grabbing a tool. You can begin to heal yourself out. And yes, some of them are bad, but hang in there. You can. Okay.